Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. We're having fun with florals today. Abstract, florals, simple techniques. These cards take minimal time to paint. Super fun. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Like I said, if you're just starting out watercolor and you're playing with wet on wet and you want to paint some really kind of cool abstract flowers, this is a tutorial for you. You really don't even need to have super skill for this. No drawing involved, none of that. Just using brushes and some simple wet on wet techniques and just tapping the brush a certain way. I use a liner brush, a flat wash brush, and a round brush. Patreon members get the extended version, so if you're going to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. So, without further ado, let's get started. All right, for these simple, cool, kind of fun floral cards, I'm going to go over my supplies. I have a piece of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper. It's like 4x6, and I taped it down with Scotch Magic tape. It's the tape I like to use. You can use whatever tape. Some people don't like this tape, but I love it because you have to just peel it away from the paper. Don't peel it down because it goes in and can rip off the paper. You want to peel it away from the paper. I just taped it on cardboard, but I kind of have it on a tilt. I just put something down. This is an old Apple plug, and I'm just tilting it. So I want the paper on a somewhat tilt. And I'll go over the paints as I use them. But I'm going to use primarily, I'm going to play with my flat wash brush, is a 3/4 inch, and just a number 12 Neptune series brush. I'm going to start off having a little fun here. Just taking some water on my brush, right? And just kind of randomly sticking it on the card, leaving some white spaces, kind of going down, not filling this area. You see how I'm just kind of like going like this and then leaving some white spaces. You can see the sheen on some areas are there and some areas are not there. And because we're getting towards Valentine's, maybe you could do some pinks and reds, and you could do some purples too. So I'll take some bright rose, and I like to mix it with cadmium red light. And I'll water this down a little bit, those two colors. And I'll just start sticking that down in some areas here. Just kind of moving it like this from the top. Wiggling my paintbrush. So they're like blooms just kind of floating in the air like there. Shouldn't take that long, right? You see, I'm just kind of leaving some white, just going like that. And I'll clean up my brush. I'm going to mix up some green. I use cadmium yellow deep and Prussian blue. Those are my colors. You get a nice bright green. And if you want it, keep it bright, keep it this color. Again, preference for yourself. I add a little brown and a little blue and a little bit more burnt umber to get it more of an, this is an olivey green. You can add more blue to make it more, build up to get that darker green, adding those two colors. Look at that dark green. But I always like to start off with a little bit of lighter green. So that's that Prussian blue with the yellow. And I'm just going to stick in, see, I'm just taking the tip of my brush and just kind of wiggling in, pushing down some greens that would be there. And taking the brush and the tip, whoop, moving it back and forth. A couple little lines like that. It looks like nothing now, but it'll be cute. I'm just going to remove some of this paint, this pink paint here. We're going to start using the flat wash brush for making like the vase. So I'll take some ultramarine blue deep. I love this color. Tippy tap, just a quarter, teeny little tap of the burnt sienna. You get a nice gray. If you add more blue, bluish gray, etc. Okay, cleaned off my brush. And I'm going to just go straight down for the vase. Now it could be sitting on a table or not. If you want it sitting on a table, stop it here and kind of go like this. A little line across with the chisel end. You can take this and go down here like that. Look, you have your vase, right? Now we add some nuance to that. A little bit darker, a little more paint, blue, darker, darker on the bottom, tap on the side, right? I'll clean off my brush a little bit and just take some of that clear water and I'll go down and add some blue, this color here, just kind of pulling down a little bit. You can add other color blues. I have a cerulean blue here. I mixed it with some brown, whatever. Kind of tapping that in. And the shadow could be left or right. I'm going to pull a little shadow over here. Now it doesn't look like much, but we got the vase, right? Clean up my brush. And I'll pull a little bit more water down. And then we're just kind of playing. So I'm taking the brush, tippy tapping that burnt sienna and some more ultramarine blue deep, a little deeper gray. You can get thicker color, so it's hardly any water on it. Oh, that's a little too much. You can tap the side and the bottom, a little dot here. You see how cool that looks? A little bit of randomness here. Little line going down. You want some shadows kind of happening here. That's a simple vase, just by using a brush. We're not drawing it. We're just taking the brush, pulling down, using the ends. Look at that. I can add some color back here. I'm going to clean up my brush and just kind of move that water around here a little bit. So it's kind of blending. Sweet. Okay, now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to use a different brush. I could still use a number 12. I'm just grabbing this because it's clean. The Aqua Elite, or you could use the 12 Neptune. Going back and using thicker paint of the two colors that I used in the beginning, the rose and the cadmium red light. And just kind of add little marks like a circle, bigger circles. Right? Or you can actually paint it in kind of a shape, little petals like this, circles or shapes. Could do like a tulip shape. But since we kind of like have this abstract looking flowers here, we're just going to keep it simple, like circles or dots. Especially if you're just starting out in watercolor and you don't really want to paint some shapes. You can bring those colors down here, just tippy tapping, right? And I would add some bigger shapes kind of like here, like in the center. And just kind of small ones. You could even splatter some smaller ones up top. I'll take my brush. I always like to slam my brush on something else. So we got the splatter ones up top. Really simple, little tiny blooms, and then we've got the bigger ones in the bottom. Oh, a couple got down below, but that's okay. They'll kind of dissipate a little bit, get a little bit bigger, right? I'm going to go back to my 12 brush. I just feel like it lends itself to be looser, right? Get some bright green in there. We've got that dark green. Remember I mixed that dark green? We can start to play with putting that color in there. Now you want a little bit thicker because if it's really wet and loose, it's going to bleed, and we don't want that. So I'm kind of cleaning up my brush, getting a little bit, tapping the paper towel, so I don't want it super wet. And we got this thicker paint, almost like butter, deeper greens, and I'm going to place those kind of in here and pull them down. You can have fun with this. If it's not loose enough, obviously here there's no water, so you can kind of play with that, adding in some greens. But where it's really kind of wet still, you want that thicker paint so it doesn't bleed as much. Kind of wiggling your brush. Look at that. Just wiggled and put some kind of funky leaf petals and stuff like stems like right there. And don't be afraid not to stick down like some nice, whoops, get more pink color than this red. Little ditzy flowers by just tippy tapping down below here and here. Get a little deeper, darker with a thick color, just tapping in some dots in the center of some of these light ones. Look how fast that was to create something really cool. Where it gets a little more nuanced, you could put the stems in the jar using a liner brush with your greens. You're pulling them in, right? Because they wouldn't be, unless it's not a clear glass, jar. I'm adding some deeper color with some Prussian blue. Get those stems in there. Might have to get some more water on my brush. And like really less than 10 minutes, you have a really cool card. I would suggest adding some more stems and whatnot up here. Make it more interesting. greenery, have a little bit more energy. Wiggling out some little stems with my liner brush. And they could be brown, they could be green. I'm going to add some brown tones. Get some light green here coming down. And I'll grab the Prussian blue because you want some deep dark color too to make it more interesting. But really, how much time did this take us? Zippy. And you have a really sweet card to give to somebody who would want those colors for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or birthday or get well, or even just to cheer them up on a sunny day. So I'm just pulling this down. Stems, make it interesting. Dark color. You could throw in a little lunar black or Paynes gray and make it even darker in some of these areas. Just your eye goes in there. I'm not done yet. I just want to do one more thing to the vase with my flat wash brush. I know. I'm going to grab some turquoise, which is this cobalt color here. Put a little bit of that in there, right out of the tube. Clean off my brush, grab a little bit of water, and kind of play with filling this in so it looks like water is in there. And dissipating some of those leaves. Right? And then we can go back to the edge of this jar, thicker paint, tapping the darkness on the side and on the bottom a little bit. It's up to you. And then I'll clean up my brush and do like a little line, clearing, lifting, so it looks like the glass. So we kind of lost our stems a little bit. You can play with that. I might fix up and clean up the edge here a little bit, but not necessary because it's supposed to be an abstract. So we can kind of go in here and like go like this a little bit. So we have our edge. Add a little bit of color to the table on this side. Could be grays, greens, whatever. And of course, the other side is got all the shadow happening. And there's a really cool card, right? I love it. Just a simple card. Gonna add some more turquoise. Tippy tap. When it dries, you can go back in and add some stems back in there. Because if I did that now, it's gonna bleed. I wanted them to be a little wonky, bleedy. You know, water would hit them and they would be not as perfect. Again, it's up to you. I'll go back and add these stems. They kind of like got dissipated. And like I said, just grab back little ditzy flowers and we're done. I'll do some little ditzy ones up here with my little liner brush. Let this dry, remove the tape, and we have a masterpiece. Okay, removing the tape. See how I pull it away? Nothing happens. Same thing here, pulling it away from the paper, and guess what? It didn't rip. And then you can just mount it on cardstock. I have some tape already here on a black cardstock. And look how pretty. Vibrant that is to paint. Change the colors to yellows and purples and blues. It'd be really beautiful. Now moving on to the second card, which is so much fun. Okay, we have one more quick card. Again, same technique with the paint and paper and water. So I'm just going to randomly, this time I'm not going to do a vase. I'm just going to kind of go like all the way down to the bottom. Just randomly stick water on my paper. And I'm going to change up the colorway a little bit. Ultramarine blue deep, bright rose, make it purple, really pretty. That bright rose. Using the flat wash brush. And depending on how much blue or, pink you're using, the color will change. So here we go, tapping random. I'm just kind of twisting my flat wash brush. You can kind of make marks like this. Bigger ones for a bigger bloom, like that. I did some little taps and then I'm gonna go push out, 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 twist. So it's an actual bloom. And then this one too. And then I'm going to grab some thick rose, go in here and just kind of play with wet on wet now. So I'm just twisting my brush. You can tap on the corner here, on the chisel end, push out the paint, like on top of that. And little ditzy ones up this way. I'm just kind of twisting my brush, a little bit thicker paint here, ultramarine blue deep. Again, twisting, and we have a nice, fun card. This will take you 5 seconds. Darker color here. Now we'll start to do some greens. I'm just going to grab some yellow and Prussian blue. I haven't cleaned my brush yet. And greens. Get more Prussian blue, make it brighter. Go down with the stem here. Grab that yellow. Twist, twist, twist. Stem on the chisel end. This is the chisel end. Pull down like that. Thicker paint. And it's blue, see? You can add yellow in there. And that blue will be green. Go out this way with the chisel end. Push out, push down. Grab some more green to make it look more lighter. And see, I'm just twisting my brush. Now I'm going to clean it. Already we have a pretty flower, right? Cleaned it so I can have more yellow and looser paint here. Just kind of go down here and just tapping in. You can splatter a little bit, even with the chisel brush. Flat wash brush. Some green up in here, down there. We're playing here, twisting and turning. Adding some greens. All right, now I'm going to grab my liner brush. This is supposed to be really quick and fast so that you're not going to overthink things. Go super fast. I'm not kidding. Take your greens and just kind of wiggle and add some stems up in here and coming little skinny little lines coming across here. I'll grab some thicker blue with burnt umber. Kind of get that in here. There's no right and wrong to this. I can even add some Paynes gray or lunar black. Kind of going in here. Alrighty, cool, right? Abstract, floral. Grab some yellow. Try and get it out of the tube. Mine's a little dirty with the green. I might add a little bit. There we go. If you add the purple, because they make brown, then you got that yellowish brown tone, the yellow ochre. You can kind of put some little dip dabs in here. I might just try and go back in here and get my yellow right out of the tube. And just tap the center here. Maybe a little bit yellow up in here. Look how cute. I like it like that. But you could go back in and add a little bit more nuance with, here's the liner brush, and there's the purple color again with the rose and the blue. A little bit more rose, a little bit more blue. Use this and play with adding little lines to the flower. Whatever's out here, you can add some doodads, little tippy taps, a deep color. Deep color. I'm just kind of holding my brush like this and making wiggle some lines. So maybe it was a big bloom or even little dots for smaller blooms. So it's wet, it's going to dissipate. Super fun. Get a little bit darker here. And I always suggest, I always like a little ditzy flower, whatever brush you've got going here. I'm going to grab that. This yellow's got in here and it's not pretty. So go back and grab my rose, more purpley rose color. And just do some little ditzy flowers kind of cascading off some of these branches. I like a little ditzy flower. It's just a personal thing for me. And you're just kind of tapping it and having it come off like that. So you got a lot of energy happening here. And that's all you do. We let this dry and boom. Do this in many colors. Reds and yellows and oranges. Super pretty. Super simple. I'm going to dry it and come back and show you how it looks on a card.